Alrighty, what's up everybody? Today I'm doing a video of me tattooing myself, and it was a really bad idea.
It is a really bad idea because this is me after, and I'm letting y'all know that it was a fail.
But I really want to do a tattoo, and I've never done one in this space before, so I'm like, okay, let's try it. Let's see how it goes. Obviously, I don't have the same setup that I used to.
I didn't realize how annoying it would be to try and make that space work without having something that I was already comfortable with. So it just was not fun. There wasn't a whole lot of movement for me. I couldn't change positions or adjust my setup because outlets aren't as close as they used to be, and I was like tucked all the way in front of the computer rather than being able to move around comfortably. So I've never done it on camera before, but trying to keep angles in mind was not fun.
I usually would tattoo in a breakfast nook that we didn't use at our old house. That was like a whole room by itself, closed off from pets and stuff like that. So I'm gonna insert some footage somewhere in here, showing me just like cleaning up a little bit. I mopped twice, took the rug out of my room. I got this new comforter set I got it yesterday, so I didn't want any like dander or pet hair from even being washed to be in the room. I have 10 years of tattooing experience. I've done hundreds if not thousands of hours of tattooing clients, and tons and tons of experience under my belt in different shops and settings and updated cleaning regimens and things like that. This video is like not going to be like 100% of what I usually do. Another part of this video is I'm doing something that I've never done before and that I say not to do, and that is tattooing your arm, because I'm really tired of just having a sleeve lined out with nothing really in it. And this arm has just been a mess for me for several years now. I had a tattoo get an infection out of a shop. It was dug into and ended up creating a bunch of scar tissue. And over time, I've tried to cover over it, and I've done some touch-ups on certain areas. But due to the scarring in it, it does not hold ink the same way it used to. And that is also in these fairies here, which have lost all of their ink and have massive scarring in them. And then I went and got it lined about 4 or 5 years ago, and I never got it filled in. So, because I used to work 70 hours a week and didn't have time, and it didn't bother me. But now that I'm kind of set into my space a little bit and I have a minute to just finally tattoo myself after a couple of months, I'm like, you know what? This right here is probably going to be the easiest area for me to even try and attempt. And if I don't like the way it's turning out, then I'm not going to keep going, because it's just going to damage my skin and not come out the way I want it to.
I didn't stop. I kept going. It sucked.
I just want to have something finished on myself at this point, but I also don't want to go to a shop when I know how to do it. So
problem is I didn't know what I was doing, and me being comfortable with what I know how to do, I've never done this before, and I had no idea how to deal with not being able to use my right hand, because I say in all of my videos, you need both your hands. That makes sense. Unfortunately, I thought that a roll of duct tape would help me out, because I have also suggested that in my videos. So I thought I would try it out.
This is on me, 100%.
Yup. Okay, so we're getting into some fast forwarding stuff, because I didn't talk the rest of the time. I put on a show. That's what I do when I tattoo. I usually put on something like a podcast I can listen to or something, whatever. I'm getting myself ready. I duct tape my arm. I get as much of a stretch as possible. Cleaning, shaving, Got my stuff already set up. Okay, first thing you're gonna notice, I don't have a good setup. I have my usual stuff that I use, but I don't have my usual station that I'm used to using. This table is moving. Okay, so I'm trying to get the right angle for the ink to go down the tube and into my skin properly. And I struggled with this the entire time. Like, it did not go the way it was supposed to. Because it's so hard to do whip shading and things like that. Or just anything, really. When you can't get the right angle on this. It did not go well. I just, yeah, it was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. And I oh, yeah. You'll see it in a second. Yeah, you see that? Yeah, you see that. Okay. Frustration is building immediately at this point. I hate it when I go in to do a tattoo and I haven't tuned my machine beforehand, and then it ruins the mood. At this point, I'm like, okay, I need to just... I'm listening for the right sound, but also while I'm moving the machine to see if the needle's getting caught on anything. For some reason, that sounds good enough to me. It actually wasn't, and as soon as I tried to start tattooing again, it started shutting off again, and got a new needle at this point because I had a 9 mag shader, and I thought that I had bent the needle too much and that it was riding on the tube, because these aren't amazing tubes or anything. So, like I said, I don't have what I used to have being in a professional shop, so the quality of tubes and needles is not what it used to be. They're a pain in the ass, and I hate using shaders with this brand that I bought. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go in my comfort zone, because I'm extremely uncomfortable already not having my setup I usually use, not having just done an arm tattoo before. At least I can use a needle that I'm comfortable with, and I know it's not going to mess up on me, right? I get this needle in and I'm playing with it, and you hear how it's cutting out? Okay, at some point I did get it, and I had to retune the entire thing because I haven't messed with my machine in like 2-3 months at this point. Maybe 4 months. I don't know. Whenever I put up my last short of me getting some tattoos, that's the last time I tattooed. I really haven't had time to do anything tattoo related. So it took the good part of an hour to figure out the exact cause of what was going on. But at this point, I have a dog on my bed, which is a big no-no because I just spent from 5:30 in the morning till, about 8 o'clock cleaning. I spent a long time cleaning, and you didn't see it, but I even took a rag in between mopping and would wipe the floor dry and then remop and then wipe the floor dry just to loosen up any dirt or dust and pick it up. And this time I'm just trying to get in the groove. I was stopping, just trying to not have all this swelling and endorphins up and down when I've barely done anything, which is, I know it's hard to see, but I kind of gave up on getting the camera angles correct, and it was just like, I need to get the ink in my skin because this is not applying as well as I thought it would. Unfortunately, when you don't have your other hand to stretch skin out, it's hard. It's not, there's really no way to get around it. I thought if I had some duct tape and got all the angles I could, it would help, but you really, the the whole point of stretching. I mean, there is an importance to it, and I already knew that, and I just was being really hopeful that I could test out this theory that I had. Also, my dog is a crackhead, so he proceeded to just lick my blanket for the next 5 minutes, and I don't understand what's wrong with him. My cat. That dude, he just... so nasty. That's where I lay, by the way, so I just slept in dog spit, probably. I mean, he's the goodest boy, but still... so nasty. Finally getting out, but... I'm also spending a lot of time talking to my kids and delegating because they were in a mood. Oh my god, they were in a mood. Yeah, at this point, I'm giving up on packing. My ink does not want to go in. I should have stopped. When I said if it got too difficult, I was going to stop. I should have just stopped. And I didn't. I was like, no, it kind of works and it's kind of a thing. So I'll just keep going and see if I can really figure this out. I didn't really ever figure it out. I'm just being honest. This is also, I don't really understand what the point of a light source is if you're not going to use it. And I was just so frustrated at this point. I was like, I don't even care. I don't even care. I'm going to get it done. I'm so mad. I was not having a good time. Kind of throwing a fit at this point. The skull bit here was actually the hardest to do because it was the meatiest and I could not get a stretch on it. I'm pulling it down with my hand and I feel like since it's tightened on the sides that I should be okay. And it was not. It was a poor angle. It was just a pain. And my ink was just falling out of his skull face the entire time. And it's basically just toned at this point. There's really no solid packing in here because I'm not able to use my whole grip to get this spread apart and have the right angles on it. Which is, I guess, it's me putting my money where my mouth is. Because I do get kind of preachy. And I'm like, oh, well, theoretically, I think you can do this and that. So I really wanted to try it. And it just did not work out for me. I don't know if you can see this bit right here. That's just blood. I started to very quickly realize I am not applying anything in here. I'm just opening the skin. And if I try to layer it in there, I'm going to overwork it and nothing's going to stick. So this is when I started really freaking out because this has ink in it. It's about a half and half. I would say about 50% of the ink I put in actually stayed, which is not good. More and more uncomfortable at this point. And I think I took a break at that point. Got another dog in my bed because they don't care. They don't understand what sanitation is. They're dogs. Not having a light source at this point because who needs that? Nothing's gonna stay in anyways. Oh yeah, I started putting in black because I was like, dude, this face is gonna be so flat and disappointing and just... It's still disappointing, but it does have a little bit of definition. It just doesn't really make sense to put black in it when I really didn't hit black anywhere else. I used purple, and then I have black in the center, and it's as light as possible so it doesn't, like, set it back too much, if that makes sense. Just trying to keep that ink off of it. Trying to keep it as clean as possible so I can see what I'm doing. And the more I'm looking at it, the worse I'm feeling. I was like, okay, I have to really hard line some ink in here and see if I can get it to just really applicate. Otherwise, I am just going to have a big mushy mess and I really can't overwork this. I don't know. There's points where I get in the zone because, I mean, that's why I tattoo is I like getting in the zone and just having a good time. So when things are going well, I'm like, this is great. Got a quick confession here. I do not use color. I'm really not into color. It's not my thing. I'm not very seasoned at using color, my preference and what I really like to do is black and gray. I can mess with black and gray all day. It's so fun. I love using white and mixing it in there and making different tones. And it's just so easy to break it down in my mind. Color theory is not my strong suit. So I'm just completely uncomfortable the whole time, but I know that it needs color to it. So I'm going to do what I can to make it work. I mean, it ends up being a thing, just not something I prefer. I'm starting to feel better at this point because I know it's going to be over soon, I think. For some reason, I wanted to use the green. I really like purple and green together, so I figured I'd make a green spider, which is not even true to the art material. Because it's Zelda, so it should have been like browns and yellows, but my skin tone is kind of olive. So I have a lot of yellow in my skin already, so yellow doesn't really show up as well. Green doesn't show up that great either. And I think I should have set up like a darker green. And at this point, I need some definition. I have little people. They're very cute. Just for that face, it is so massive for the liner that I'm using because I wanted to stay in my comfort zone, but I'm stupid. I should have stayed with the mag. I should have just tuned up my machine and stayed with the mag, but I did not. I ended up grabbing like a 7 round liner, which is extremely small, which made this take way, way longer. My reasoning with that was that I can build tones a lot easier without opening as much like skin in the process of it, instead of doing like the traditional whip shading where I'm whipping the needle out. I can't really do that in this situation because of the angle of my machine. So I thought that if I got a liner, I can cross hatch and whip that way and create some peppery effects. Now, the end result is just pepper. All that color in there is just pepper. There's nothing solid in this whole tattoo. Okay, so let's break down my piece of crap real quick. This has got some yellow that I mixed in with it, but for the most part, this is all gonna lighten up so much that you're really not gonna be able to read half of the yellow in there. And the green is just like this weird sickly color that I don't understand why I thought it would be good to use that. And you can definitely tell between what is more saturated and what is not. I mean, you have blood pushing out of here and there's no ink in here because if I couldn't get the ink into certain areas, I just gave up on it. I'm not even kidding. I did not want to damage the skin to a point where I couldn't try to go over it again, and I thought I would put some yellow in there, and I completely abandoned it because I could tell I'm not applicating correctly. And so I started with these flowers, and I have another one on the other side, and I wanted to keep those pretty traditional. And fun fact, when you use a multitude of colors, you'll see me wipe a lot, like a lot, because those colors will actually start to set into any open skin. So it looks like I got some green in here, but that is actually yellow. It just has ink on top of it. But the yellow is okay. I'm not a huge fan of it. The red is really nice. I think I should have just used more reds. And the lining is already so faded out, and it's actually missing chunks. Like my skin was damaged in some parts. There's some scar tissue in here. And the lines are really aged out. So if I was not going to do a lining session on my arm. I really am glad I didn't try that because that would have not worked at all for how hard it was to applicate. I mean, this is me trying to build layers and layers over and over again. and it's still not as solid as I would like it to be. But this was also kind of an experiment. Just not a successful one. It's really annoying. Not one of those days for me. So I immediately took down my station after peeling off this freaking duct tape. That sucked. That was sitting on my skin for like a good 2 hours and it just did not want to come off. And I wanted it to be as tight as possible, so I got all the creases in there. Ended up taking some of my skin off in some bits. Which, at this point, who cares? You know, the skin's already been tortured enough today, but that elbow's a fun one. That was the good slow peel. Yeah. Good stuff. Just done. But immediately through like the first 10 minutes of this, I knew it was going to be a fail. So I was like, I am going to pick out everything I did wrong in this. Ugh. Well, yeah. So anyways, that would be my video for today. Thanks for watching me bash on myself. I had a good time. I'm looking at it today and it actually seems a little bit brighter than it did yesterday. It's not as bad, but I know over time this is not going to hold up well, and it's definitely not solid. It's definitely not packed. There's no packing through this whole thing, really. I think I get to put the duct tape theory to rest, for sure. It did not work out well for me. I don't think tattooing your arms is a good idea, and now I really understand from firsthand experience why it doesn't go well, because that was freaking difficult and it was not fun. And legs, I can tattoo my legs all day. I can sit for 6 hours while I tattoo my legs. This was maybe a 2-hour process and I hated it. It was not fun. But yeah, thanks for being here. If you enjoyed this video, if you haven't seen my other ones, I have a tattoos playlist you can check out. But in the meantime, if you want to check out a project I did that took me about 50, 60 hours, I throw in a little clip right here. I can't get in, I'm getting...
He's dead, oh no! I can't save you. I'm not getting off this fucking helicopter.
Off the helicopter.
Ow! Oh fuck, I'm gonna die. Yes, thank you, Rochelle! Jesus Christ! All she had to do was get on a fucking helicopter.
And see if that's interesting for you. Yeah, thanks for being here, guys. I'll see you in the next one. We'll see if I ever do another tattoo video, because I had a lot of confidence going into this that, yeah, I know how to tattoo. And, I need to get my shit figured out before I do any more of these. But I'll see y'all later. Bye.
That it was a fail.